been a while since we did some pieces in the Tiferes LeMoishe, so Baruch Hashem, we're going to be resuming this now. Now, the Tiferes LeMoishe in this part talks about how we know whether or not we have true Avas Hashem. We say twice a day, how do we know if we're there? How do we know where on this journey we are and what we have to work on to actually get to Avas Hashem? Now, of course, it's very easy to say, when I say Ava Hafta and I actually think about it and I get this strong feeling of loving Hashem, and that's great. And that in itself is a Maila. But there's several Svarim that tell us that there is actually a true and tested, proven way to know where you're up to. And the first sefer that the Tiferes LeMoishe brings down is a sefer called Or Yitzchak from Rabbi Yitzchak of Radvil. And what he says is that every mitzvah has its test to know whether or not you've accomplished what you need to accomplish, or whether you still have what to work on. And everybody can go through any mitzvah and look back and say, yeah, I think I nailed it. I think I really, got it all, whether or not it's from the prospect of the mechanics or the halachas, the checklist of for example, mitzvah lulav, I got my right size lulav and I learned all the halachas and I know exactly that I did all the albaminim, exactly how it's supposed to be, mahadran and mahadran, super, triple, aleph plus. And then they can even say, and I also learned about the pnimis about it, and I got this and that and the other right. And when we apply this to Avas Hashem, how do we know if we have enough Avas Hashem? And the Yitzchak uses an interesting expression. He says that you have to check the numbers. If the numbers make sense, then you got it right. If the numbers don't make sense, then something's wrong and it's sheker and you haven't really achieved it. And then he brings a further quote from the same place, and he says that really the way to know whether or not you have Avas Hashem is whether or not you have Ahavas Yisrael. What does that mean, Ahavas Yisrael? It means if you love someone, really, really, truly deep love for a fellow Jew, then you're so connected that their accomplishments bring you joy like they were your accomplishments, and their troubles bring you sadness and discomfort, as if you were personally experiencing it. And even to the point where, there is no difference, seemingly no difference between the love that you have for your own children and the love that you have for their children. So intertwined is this connection that is really how you feel. Now, if you love every single Jew like that, then you've achieved Avas Hashem. But obviously, this is a very difficult feat, a very difficult task. And he even brings down from the Yehudi HaKadosh of Peshescha, and he says, similarly bringing down that when you want to test the weight for something, you put it on a scale and you put something that weighs on one side and the item you want to weigh it against on the other side, and then you see if it makes sense. And he says the words as well, After L'Orecha Kamocha is Kalgbel Batera, because through a After L'Orecha Kamocha you will know where you are standing in Kiyam HaTorah. The entire Kiyam HaTorah is for the sole purpose of developing your relationship with Hashem. Now if you want to know where you stand in your relationship to Hashem, you really need to know what's your Havas Yisrael look like. But why is that so important? Well, quite frankly, it's like this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu expresses himself through every individual in this world. Every individual in this world. Particularly every Yid in this world. More clearly through every Yid in this world. And so, if there is a Yid or a Yiddish family that you don't have this Avas Yisrael towards, what that means is there's an aspect of the Rebbeinu Shalom that you're not connected with. Besides the fact that's brought down here, that if you love Hashem, then you love all His children, which means Klal Yisrael, B'nai B'chai Yisrael, and humanity as well, in a certain sense. But that's the true test. The true test is, am I comfortable and accepting of each and every scenario in my life, or each and every expression that Hashem put out in this world? Because they are all Hashem's expressions. And that's why it's important to develop Avas Yisrael for that purpose, to show where you are holding. And if you don't have it, well, then you know what you need to work on. And it takes a certain honesty and integrity to reflect within how we truly feel about something and why we feel that way. And with Hashem, we should be zeicha to actually be able to make these tikkunim to reach a place of true Avas Yisrael.